Hi guys, so here's your lesson for Wednesday, May 20th. Okay, today we're going to talk about graphing quadratics again. It's going to sound repetitive. It's just more practice with graphing quadratic functions. Okay, so graph the parabola, then answer the questions that follow. So I have f of x equals x squared minus 6x. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to graph this, and I actually already have it graphed. We have f of x equals x squared minus 6x. Okay, so here is my graph. I want to make sure I can graph the entire thing on my graph. And you need to make sure you have the entire U shape when you graph it. So let's look at a table of values so that we can put some points. So I notice that this graph kind of can go from -1 to 7 on the x-axis. So looking at the x-axis, I'm looking at -1 to 7. That's really what it covers, right? So I'm going to go table of values, and I'm going to go from -1 to 7. It's going to be different for every graph. You kind of just have to look at it. Okay, there's my values. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that onto my workspace. I have -1, 7, 0, 0, 1, -5, 2, -8, 3, -9, 4, -8, 5, -5, 6, 0, and 7, 7. Okay, so there's all my table of values. So now I'm just going to go ahead and plot that onto the graph. Okay, so I have -1, 7, 0, 0, 1, -5, 2, -8, 3, -9, 4, -8, 5, -5, 6, 0, 7, 7. Okay, and make sure when you draw, you have a nice U shape. It's a curve. Just draw it the best that you can. It's not a straight line. And there's your graph. Okay. Notice in my table of values as well, notice the pattern we see in the f of x column or the y column. Okay, notice how it kind of repeats itself. We have 7, 0, -5, -8, -8, -5, 0, 7. Here is my turning point, right? Here's the tip of where we're turning, okay, where it starts to repeat itself after -9. So, the axis of symmetry. Okay, remember the axis of symmetry is the line that splits the graph or the function into two equal sides. Okay, we draw the line through the vertex, and that's my axis of symmetry. Okay, x equals 3. It's the line x equals 3. The vertex is either the minimum or the maximum point, and based on the graph, it's a minimum point. Okay, notice the first value is positive, so we know it's a minimum point, and we can see it on the graph. We have a minimum point right here. Okay, that point is the point 3, -9. And your vertex is always going to start with the point with the x value is going to be the same as the axis of symmetry. So the axis of symmetry is x equals 3. Your first value of your vertex is 3. Okay, and notice the turning point here is the vertex. Okay, the point in between where everything repeats is your vertex. It's always going to be the same. Okay, the roots, or where it crosses the x-axis. Okay, where it crosses the x-axis is here and here. So we have x equals 0 and x equals 6. And lastly, the y-intercept. Okay, where does the graph cross the y-axis? Graph crosses the y-axis right here. Y equals 0. And you're done. Okay? Example 2. I'm going to go ahead and plug this function into GeoGebra. So I have -x squared plus 4x minus 4. Enter. Okay? I'm going to make sure I can see the entire graph. And I'm going to type my table of values as, let's say x equals -1, right? Because we can see -1, and x equals 5. So my table of values, I'm going to go from And here's how we edit. We go to the x dot dot dot, edit. We already have -1 in there, and I'm going to go to 5. If you go to 7, that's okay. You're just going to get some values that are too big to put on your graph. Okay? You can go from -10 to 10 if you want. You're going to get high values that you're not going to be able to put on the graph. Okay, so now I'm going to copy that table down onto my workspace. So I have -1, 0, sorry, -1, -9, 0, -4, 1, -1, 2, 0, 3, -1, 4, -4, and 5, -9. Okay, graph them onto the graph. -1, -9, 0, -4, 1, -1, 2, 0, 3, -1, see the pattern? 4, -1, or sorry, 4, -4, and 5, -9. Every parabola is going to have this nice pattern when we actually look at the coordinates or the points. Okay, notice, okay, the turning point. The turning point is right here. We could see because everything from here to here starts to repeat itself, right, going the opposite way. So, the axis of symmetry. Okay, we go through the vertex. Here's the vertex, and we draw a line through the vertex. That's x equals 2. Now the vertex. Okay, the vertex is either the minimum or the maximum, and we know that's a maximum because it's a high point, right? It looks like a mountain, not a U. And we have, this is the point 2, 0. Notice again, the x value is the same as the axis of symmetry. Always going to be the same. Okay, and it's also our turning point right here from the table. The roots. Okay, the roots is where it crosses the x-axis. Every other example we looked at, we've had 2 roots because we've had 2 points where it crosses the x-axis. But in this case, it only crosses the x-axis in one spot. Okay, and that's only at x equals 2. It's okay to have one root. And lastly, the y-intercept. Okay, where it crosses the y-axis. So it crosses the y-axis at y equals -4. And you're done. One more example and then we're done for today. Okay, a little bit different. J of x equals x squared plus 4. Let's go to GeoGebra. Let's clear, or I'll just space out. X squared plus 4. Enter. Oh, where'd it go? Zoom out until you can see the graph. There it is, and I can zoom back in. So now my table of values, let's see. I don't really want to go past 10. I'm looking at the x-axis. We can go from like -3 to 3. Let's try that. You can always adjust your table of values if it doesn't make sense. So we're going to go from -3 to 3. Okay? And let's write those values down into our work area. So I'm going from -3, 13, -2, 8, -1, 5, 0, 4, 1, 5, 2, 8, 3, 13. Okay? Circle the turning point. You can see the turning point is 0, 4, right? Because everything in the opposite direction starts to repeat itself. Also, if you want to work backwards before you even graph, 0, 4 is going to be the turning point. If we know that if we know this is the turning point, the axis of symmetry is going to be x equals 0. Okay, but we'll graph anyway. So we have -3, 13. I can't graph that point. That's okay. Move to the next one. -2, 8. -1, 5. 0, 4. 1, 5. 2, 8. 3, 13. I can't graph. So you graph what you can with the graph that you're given. Remember, these lines go on and on and on forever. So you only want points that you're able to graph on the actual graph that we have in front of us. So, again, the axis of symmetry. It makes sense. The axis of symmetry is x equals 0 because if we look at the graph, okay, here's the vertex. The line goes right through 0. The maximum of the minimum. We can see it's a minimum. Oops, sorry. We can see that it's a minimum value. Right? It has a U shape. Here's the minimum value. Okay? And let's check. Is it the 0.04? It is the 0.04. Okay? So, we got that. We took that right from the table here. The roots. Okay? Where does it cross the x-axis? Well, it doesn't cross the x-axis here. So, no roots. We don't have any points that cross the x-axis. And finally, the y-intercept is where this line crosses the y-axis, and that is y equals 4. Alright, guys. Thanks for today's lesson. I hope you check out the assignment for today. Let me know if you have any questions. Alright, bye.